What's up, guys? Excuse me. Ian here, coach of your Surrey Stingers, bringing you guys our Week 3 team builder for the PTL, taking on Gremlin and his Southend Stoutlands. We took on Gremlin last season, near the end of the season there, and picked up a win off of him, eliminating him from playoff contention and pushing ourselves further in that run for the playoffs that we unfortunately did not make either. Let's run through his team, though. He's got Megalodios, Necrozma, Mamoswine. Megalodios and Mamoswine I paired together last season, so it's really cool to see it again. Shaman, Buzzwole, Primarina, Stack Attack Z user, Tornadus, Incarnate Z user, Incineroar, and Gligar. You may notice something different on the speed there. He actually made some transactions, and I made a transaction. We traded Salamence for Garchomp, and it was a very easy 1-2Z swap sort of thing because that's just how it was. We managed to get the Z Crystal on the Garchomp there, as well as pick up the Garchomp. Now, I was obsessed with this because Garchomp was 16 points and Salamence was 17, and I was so excited to try and draft Garchomp in this league, and then Bub sniped me on it. But then Bub dropped the league, and so his replacement Arcanine agreed to trade Garchomp for Salamence. He had a point left over, so it was an easy one-for-one swap. And so we ended up with Garchomp on our team, which I'm really excited about because I think this is like as scary as Clefable Jirachi Salamence was. I think it's a little bit scarier with Clefable Jirachi Garchomp. I think Garchomp's just the better Pokemon out of all of it, and I may be looking to thin the team a little bit now because of that. But that option's always still there. So yeah, priority-wise, he's got Mamoswine with Ice Shard and Incineroar with Fake Out. That's pretty much it. It's a fairly weak priority team. Tornadus with Prankster, but those are only status moves that it gets priority with. So damaging priority moves are Fake Out and Ice Shard. Hazard setting in Necrozma with Rocks, Mamoswine with Rocks, Stack Attacker with Rocks, and Gligar with Rocks. So mono Rocks. I am bringing somewhat Rocks weak team this week, I guess, with just the Braviary. Removal options in the Megalodios with Defog, the Tornadus with Prankster Defog, which is clutch, and Gligar with Defog, so no spinners. I can't imagine he's going to keep hazards up on his side the entire game, although the only Mons weak to rocks on his team are the Incineroar and the Tornadus. On my team, it's the Braviary and the Heatmore, and Heatmore has not seen any action yet. 4 times weaknesses on his side, he's got the Buzzwole weak to flying, Stack Attack weak to ground and fighting, and Gligar weak to ice. So I'm covering a couple of those. No, all of them, I guess, because Braviary is coming. I've covered the flying, I've covered the ground, I've covered the fighting, and I believe I've covered the ice. I think. I may not have. May not have. Gligar might be a bigger issue than I anticipated to be, and I'm really going to have to get Drapion in to knock that thing's Violite off if I really want to make any headway against it. Yeah, so let's talk about what I'm expecting then. I don't really think the Tornadus is going to come, just because I think he's got a lot of good options here. So, Tornadus and Shaman are I'm on the fence about. I think everything else could definitely come. I think Megalodios is definitely coming because it's a huge problem. I think Necrozma is coming as his Megalopony check. It seems to be his best Megalopony check. If Necrozma doesn't come as a Megalopony check, Gligar is going to be his Megalopony check. If I see both, it's going to be a little bit sketchy on what I want to do with the Megalopony then, because I think that the Necrozma is going to be a much bigger problem if it's sort of a setup variant rather than just a physically defensive Megalopony answer. I don't know if he would still be like a Calm Mind variant and be physically defensive or not. I'm always sketched out about Necrozma just because it can do so many different things. The good news is it's slow, and so I'm carrying Toxic on a couple things. Just one thing maybe? I don't know. Mamoswine absolutely wrecks my team, so Mamoswine is absolutely coming. The good news is I don't think he can run Scarf. That's about all there is for good news. It's actually good news for him because he's going to be doing a shitload more damage. But if he can't run Scarf, that means that he's not going to be outspeeding my Jirachi, and that is an important thing because, as we'll see later down the line, this Jirachi kind of just claims kills with the set that I'm running. So I'm not super duper concerned that way. I've prepped around the fact that I just straight up lose to Mamoswine. The combo of ground plus ice on one Mon is so oppressive against my team. I just don't like my ice resist is Blastoise, and that can normally switch into ice moves. My ground resist I don't have a ground resist. Oh, Braviary, I guess. This team's a little bit sketchy. I might end up dropping. I'm thinking I'm going to drop the Golurk and the Heatmore um, for something else. Active week 4 probably. I'll have to look into it a little bit just because I don't like how weak my team is to ground and ice. I'd like to pick up something else to mitigate that a little bit because my grass type is neutral to ground. Yeah, but just the combo of like Earthquake plus Icicle Crash kind of just blows my team back, and I can't do anything about it, unfortunately. There's just no way around it, unfortunately, to speak for me. So I'm just kind of going to have to sack stuff to Mamoswine, and if he is Scarf, he's not going to two-shot my Clefable that you see on the screen here. So that's a good thing, because if he can't two-shot something, that's kind of ideal. Otherwise, I just outspeed him. You know, Ice Shard's such a bitch, man. I wanted to bring Garchomp because it looked good against everything else, and it kind of forces the Stakataka to run a Shuckleberry. But Mamoswine just revenge kills it so fucking easily, and the Gligar was such a big problem for Garchomp. Same with Buzzwole, but at least the Garchomp can run like Fire Blast to cover Buzzwole on the special side. Shaman was a problem for it too. You know, he's got a decent team to check Garchomp. Like, he wasn't extremely weak to Garchomp, so it wasn't really worth bringing this week. Buzzwole is a nice physical wall for him. I tend to err on the side of a lot of physical attackers on this team, and we saw that against Brett, where the Gourgeist kind of just shut me down. Buzzwole can maybe do the same thing, although not as efficiently as Gourgeist. It can a little bit with Roost, but you know, it doesn't get the Will-O-Wisp and the Leech Seed sort of shenanigans that Gourgeist gets, so as much as it would want to shut me down like that, it's not as effective. Primarina is just a huge wall breaker, and again, I don't have any switch-ins to Primarina, like negative switch-ins to Primarina, so you know, take that as you will. I can't do anything against it, and it's Primarina and Mamoswine. My draft just cannot beat them. The good news is they're slow, and that's pretty much all I have going for me. Stakataka is going to be really interesting. He's got to bring a Resist Berry. I've prepped for both, so I've got sort of a variety of fighting and ground coverage here to beat the Stakataka, because, you know, Garchomp's a big threat to it, and Mega Lopunny is a big threat to it. But once he gets a Trick Room up, he gets kills. This is a very scary matchup, and I wouldn't be surprised if I just get outright 6-0'd against this team, because I have pretty much nothing for a lot of the threats on his squad, and that's why I'm going to look to make a few drops in free agency maybe here. Incineroar I do think will come, but it's sort of on the back burner there. You know, it's a nice Mega Lopunny answer, kind of, although it doesn't want to take the fighting moves. It's basically his best Jirachi answer, which is kind of why I think it might come. I'm not entirely sure. And then Gligar, you know, it depends if he's got the room to put Gligar on there or not. This is why I don't think Torn or Shaman are going to come. You know, they could come in some sense. You know, he might want to bring them as defogger, like he might want to bring a Torn or a Gligar as defoggers for my spike stack, because Toxic Spikes look pretty decent against him, and I have double T-Spike users, but yeah, we'll sort of see. So I've been rambling for a while. Let's talk about my team here. You guys have probably sat here and looked at the Clefable the entire time, but we're bringing Starboy, Moonblast, Soft-Boiled Rocks, and HP Ground. HP Ground obviously there for the Stakataka. Moonblast hits everything else neutrally or super effective. So I just wanted some way to hit the Stakataka so it can't just like outright set up on me. I'd like to at least weaken it, and then if it can't one-shot something afterwards, then that's sort of best case for me. Like, I don't know if he'll be able to KO my Drapion afterwards, and so maybe a Hidden Power Ground into Earthquake from Drapion kills the Stakataka and neutralizes the threat. Although at that point, you know, a slower Primarina or slower Mamoswine and Trick Room kind of just blow me back, so who knows. But, you know, pulling differential out is going to be important for this one. I'm running physically defensive Clefable. I'm running a little bit of speed so I can outrun Primarina, which means I can get off a soft-boiled before he attacks. You know, I'm not always outrunning Primarina. It depends how much speed he's running. There's no way he's going to speed creep max speed Clefable. But he did this last season when we played. My Mamoswine ended up being slower than his Mandibuzz because he crept my creep. So I'm creeping more than I did last season. So I think 44 speed on Clefable is already too much. It takes away from the defensive capabilities, but this is what I have to do to sort of try and be faster than the Primarina in a 1v1 scenario. I don't know if it's worth his time to even bother with that because it's my wall instead of his wall creeping my offensive threats like it was last season. So we'll sort of see, but it would be nice to be able to heal up before he attacks to sort of gauge the damage rather than being slower and getting two-shot by it, because I'm physically defensive Clefable. Rocks are important against his team just to chip down the Incineroar and break sashes. It's a good chip against the stack. You know, despite the fact that it's only 6% against the stack attack, it's a good chip. It might end up counting in some rolls, because even though stack attack has got that huge physical defense, the fact that it's got 2 4x weaknesses that I can cover very easily, this game, especially if he's Choppel, he's really not going to appreciate Mega Lopunny hitting it with a fighting move. So after rocks, it makes the roll a little bit better in my favor to sort of kill through some form of Choppel Berry if he's an attack boosting nature. And any and all chip on the Necrozma is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Same with Megalodios. You know, mons that I can't switch into well. I actually have nothing prepped for the Megalodios. It's pretty much only Drapion. So yeah, we're kind of screwed there. So that's Clefable. Moving on to the Lopunny here. Bring a Limber set so I can't get T-Waved. Tornadus doesn't even get T-Wave, so I don't have to worry about Prankster T-Wave, but I believe Necrozma does. It's just worthwhile for me to run Limber. You know, Megalodios gets T-Wave too, so just sort of avoiding the Thunder Waves and Paralysis as much as I can, at least. Got Toxic on there for the Necrozma switch in, although I can, you know, Toxic anything that's a switch in, well, just maybe not the Gligar as much. Power Up Punch, Return, Drain Punch, so I figure I'll click Toxic the first time. Then I've got Power Up Punch for anything switching in on me the next time. And +1 Return is going to dent his team a little bit. I've got Drain Punch there for recovery. I naturally outspeed everything on his team. He may have Scarfers that will outspeed me. You know, Scarf Buzzwole doesn't look that bad this game. As you know, Scarf Mamoswine looks pretty bad because it's not going to secure the 2 shots that, you know, Life Orb Mamoswine would. But Scarf Buzzwole is definitely very viable here in terms of catching me off guard. I don't have the, you know, I've got Fighting Resists on the team, so it's not like he can just spam Drain Punch or Leech Life. Leech Life would actually be a lot worse because I've definitely got much better Bug Resists. But you know, he can't just spam Drain Punch against me. So that's what my Galopini is there for. I'm outspeeding. What am I outspeeding? Did I not write this down? Holy hell, I didn't write it down. I'm outspeeding Tornai. I need to write this down though. Lop outspeeds Tornai. So I can run a lot of HP, and I just ended up running near max HP. Give myself a little bulky Lopunny, and so I can at least eat a hit and kind of Power Up Punch, Drain Punch combo, instead of just being flat out offensive with that much speed Vespid plus Adamant. You know, that set would hit a little bit harder, but I don't think it's super relevant when I know that the Gligar or the Necrozma are switching in anyways. I'd rather be able to sort of Toxic the Necrozma, because I'd imagine the Gligar is going to be Immunity, and then Power Up Punch the next time I switch in on it. This Drapion is kind of my answer to a Necrozma slash Megalodios. You know, I can live a hit from the Mamoswine and maybe Aqua Tail it too, or knock off the item. And I can live an Earthquake from the Gligar and knock off the Violite. There's a lot of stuff that gets Earthquake on his team. You know, Megalodios, Necrozma, Mamoswine, Buzzwole, Stack Attacka, Incineroar, I believe, gets it as well, and Gligar. So he's got like 7 mons with Earthquake, so Shuka Berry is very useful here. And I can't get crit through the Shuka, so he can't kill me with a crit through the Shuka because of Battle Armor. Aqua Tail is there for the Gligar in a pinch, and for the Mamoswine in a pinch. Obviously, Knockoff just gets rid of items, and his team is relatively Dark weak. You know, his Dark answers are like Primarina, Buzzwole, and Incineroar, and I'm fine with getting rid of any other items. Buzzwole can come in for free on this, unfortunately, but luckily Clefable switches into Buzzwole pretty easily, so as long as it doesn't Poison Jab me on the prediction or Iron Head on the prediction, I should be okay. Poison Jab is mainly there for the Primarina. In fact, it's almost certainly only there for the Primarina and the Shaman. Earthquake is there for the Stack Attacka. That's the only reason I would ever click Earthquake, besides maybe Incineroar, but at the same time I could just click Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail is a little bit safer against Incineroar to catch the Torn and the Gligar switching into the Earthquake. So I'm not optimizing anything. I'm just sort of max attack Adamant so that I can at least get some damage off, because if I was just physically defensive like I was last week, it's not really doing a lot of damage. And then I'm max HP to be able to live some hits with the Shuka Berry. Braviary's next. I'm bringing a Choice Scarf set with Defiant. I don't know if I'll ever be able to get Defiant off, but if he ever wants to defog my rocks away, he's going to be really scared of a +2 Braviary. Nothing needs to hit from +2 Braviary. You know, Stack Attack is... I think Stack Attack is actually still getting I think it's getting 2-shot by Brave Bird at that point. You know, this is a very functional way for me to be able to outspeed a Scarf Buzzwole. and revenge kill it because it gets outsped by 1 point. And I'm speed tying max speed Mamoswine if he wants to run Scarf Mammo, but Ice Shard is going to do a shitload. Yeah, so Brave Bird U-turn, Superpower Defog. Superpower is there for the stack attack. Brave Bird just beats everything else. Excuse me. If rocks are really going to be a problem, then I have Defog there as an option. You know, obviously you guys saw last week my Scarf Mence set, I had Defog on it against Brett, and that was more because Clef Key was just such an issue, but I didn't really have a better move to put on the Braviary, unless I got knocked off, then Roost would be okay. And that kind of just explains the Braviary set. Pretty basic Choice Scarf Braviary. I'm a big fan of Braviary. I think I have in like 3 leagues right now, and it's just so much fun to use. You just like slap Scarf on it. It's like Darmanitan, but a bird. Jirachi. I am bringing a Choice Banned Jirachi set, and he's going to want to Choice Ban me after getting flinched to death by the set. U-turn, Drain Punch, Iron Head, and Zen Headbutt. I thought about running a Heart Stamp, but I couldn't run Heart Stamp with... fuck, what couldn't I not run Heart Stamp with? Oh, I couldn't be Heart Stamp and Shiny, and it's like, whatever. I'll just take the Zen Headbutt and have the 70% or 10% miss. I don't know if I'll ever click Zen Headbutt against his team. Iron Head is just so fucking free. Drain Punch is there for the stack attack and the Incineroar, and then U-turn's there to get me out. Yeah, his Steel resists, let's look at his Steel resists. It is Incineroar, stack attacker. That's it. Both of them get bobbed by Drain Punch, so Iron Head is very free to just keep clicking. I think the only reason I have Zen Headbutt on there is actually for the Buzzwole. And it's a nice neutral hit if Necrozma and Megalodios aren't switching in, but Iron Head just sort of like wears a lot of stuff down. I am banded, so the only things outspeeding me are Scarfers, Torn, and Megalodios, but Band puts a lot of pressure on his team damage-wise. And I can just U-turn out pretty freely at the beginning, especially if his Psychics are going to be what he wants to switch into it, or Incineroar or Stack Attacka. Especially if he goes Incineroar, it sort of lets me get in Mega Lopunny for free without having to take the Intimidate, because Incineroar is otherwise a problem. I'm max speed to speed tied Shaman, max attack, a little bit of defense there. Roserade's the last. I'm bringing a Poison Barb set with Technician. This is actually a really cool set. It kind of does work offensively against him. Giga Drain is there. I mean, it'll hit the Mamoswine and the Primarina, although I'm going to hit the Primarina with Sludge Bomb more than likely. Giga Drain is mainly there for the Gligar, and it gets me a lot of HP back against the Stack Attack in a pinch. It gets me a lot of HP back against the Necrozma. Poison Barb Sludge Bomb should be two-shotting any form of max HP Buzzwole, and I outspeed it. It is a solid way to break the Necrozma. It's a solid way to break the Shaman. You know, Poison Barb Sludge Bomb just does a lot there. Technician HP Ground is there for the Stack Attack. Again, I think he's more than likely going to be Chople. I think he realizes that Garchomp doesn't have a great matchup against him, so I think it's more than likely he'd rather be Chople than Shuka. And then I've got Synthesis there for recovery, just in case I'm really in a bad spot and I need to recover up, because I think Roserade puts a lot of offensive pressure on his team, Technician HP Ground is also going to hit the Incineroar incredibly hard, which I like very, very much. And yeah, just the combo of Sludge Bomb plus Giga Drain kind of does a lot of work to his team, plus the HP Ground. The Gligar is a problem, but it'll start getting two-shot by Giga Drain after its Violet is knocked off. I'm running enough speed on here to outspeed Mamoswine, and then I've got max special attack, a little bit of HP there. Ice Shard is still picking me off, so it's kind of a worst case scenario here, but that is what's going on there. So in terms of what I'm not bringing, Raikou, I actually really wanted to bring Specs Raikou, and then because I was like envisioning his team in my mind when I was like doing chores, and I was like, oh, Specs Raikou looks really amazing because I can just spam T-Bolt or like Signal Beam against him. And then I looked at his team afterwards, I'm like, oh my god, he's got a Mamoswine and a Gligar. Specs Raikou can't do shit. I would have loved to just click T-Bolt. I'm really looking for an opportunity to bring Specs Raikou against somebody because I think it's just going to absolutely shred someone's team. Blastoise, I didn't really consider. It's not fantastic. Like, I considered it as a Mamo check because it's got okay defense, but it doesn't get recovery. So Mamo's just going to kind of smack it, and I didn't really want to try and Wish Pass into it this week because I really don't think Clefable as a wishing role is as important as sort of being able to tank hits. Golurk actually looked really good here. Like a Rock Polish Golurk kind of smacks this team. It just needs coverage options, and Ice Shard for the Mamoswine is ever present, so I can't make it work too well. And it doesn't really have a great way to hit the Buzzwole, which is my only complaint. Otherwise, Rock Polish Golurk kind of just claimed kills. With like Ice Punch, Shadow Punch, Earthquake would have been pretty perfect to beat a lot of this team. Garchomp, again, I talked about this earlier. It doesn't have a fantastic matchup here. I don't see it really. Heatmore, I was considering bringing like a wall-breaking Heatmore to sort of be able to break the Buzzwole a little bit better, but it sucks that I'm slower than it. I'd have to run like Scarf Heat more, and then Primarina kind of switches into Heat more, or Mega Latios almost every single time. Same with the Incineroar. So that's the team. This has been very long, and I will not keep you for too much longer. But hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully you guys enjoy the match.